What's up, guys? Back for another river vlog. It's like 9 in the morning right here. 9 in the morning where I am. And so it's pretty early. I just kind of got up, had breakfast, and wanted to go for a walk. So I want to talk today about just kind of like with the election wrapping up, like just my general thoughts on it, and mostly just to point out how both Hillary and Donald are terrible candidates, and neither one of them should be even a nominee for a presidential race. You know what I mean? And you can say, oh yeah, this, you know, it's easy for me to say who should be and who shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy for me to say that. But the reason why I say that is not just because I know them and I judge them. It's not just like a judgment. It is after, like, I watched the election since it literally started. Since literally so long ago, when Donald Trump was one out of 16 Republican candidates, and there was I think 3 or 4 Democratic candidates that were running for the Democratic Party nominee and the Republican Party nominee. So I've watched Donald Trump kind of just manipulate his way into the number one spot for the Republicans. Like, the Republicans, like, really just they nominated a whole bunch of bozos who are just so out of touch with reality that nobody could possibly take them seriously. Like Jeb Bush. He is like, he's just riding on the coattails of his father and his brother. Like, he had nothing good to say at any point. Like, none of them were inspired. None of them, like, you never got the feeling from any of those candidates of, like, passion for anything. Like, there's nothing. It's just like, hi, I'm a politician and I'm on this stage. Please vote for me. Thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? And so Donald Trump comes in, starts insulting all of them, calling them fucking, like, the whole thing with Marco Rubio, calling him Little Marco, the whole thing with Ted, and he called him Lion Ted for some reason. Like, he just made up these quick catchphrases on his major opponents that he was running against at that time, and the public just ate it up. The public just loved it, especially the right, especially the conservatives, who are just all about, like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just so into into Donald Trump being an asshole to these people, because they're like, oh my god, this is good TV, man, or something, like, just whatever. So Donald Trump won the Republican nominee because he was up against buffoons, and he's a buffoon too, but he was up against buffoons who didn't have experience working with the public. You know what I mean? All they were is, like, they're really good in a boardroom, or, you know, going for taking schmoozing somebody to get their money or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're really good at talking the game, but when it comes to presenting themselves to the people, Donald Trump is a clown. He's an entertainer. So he won, of course. And that's why he won, because he's a clown and he's a fucking entertainer. And people wanted to watch a clown and an entertainer because they're so sick of the status quo. They're so sick of the boring politicians who just say, yeah, we need to we need to unite everybody and let's bring everybody together. Together we are stronger. You know, like nobody wants to hear that shit. So Donald Trump comes in, calls these guys, like insults these guys around him, and people are like, oh my god, this is fucking exciting. So the problem with that is, it has nothing to do with politics. And Donald Trump, like, is winning votes. He's a populist candidate. So he's not running. It's not like people are like, you know, I broke down Donald Trump's policy ideas, and you know, they just are great. They just work really well for my economic, for the forecast of my economic situation in the next 5 years. Like nobody's ever said that, and nobody will ever say that, because Donald Trump's tax plan doesn't help anybody but himself and other rich people. Like, so that's the kind of frustrating thing about this, is Donald Trump wins by being a clown, and he's continually winning by being a clown, and his supporters support him because he's a clown. But they're so, like, Trump supporters are so ill-informed, they know so little about what's actually going on in the political world, that they're voting for somebody who has told them he doesn't have their best interest in mind. Like, he's not gonna be putting things into place to help his general constituency. Like, that's the weird thing about this. That's the weirdest thing, is like, he says everything. He literally, like, there's a point in the campaign where I saw people put together Trump's stances on things, and he literally stood everywhere. Like, he opposed himself within weeks by saying different things. And so what that does is, it's an extremely smart marketing ploy for him, because he knows that the general public of the United States doesn't actually pay attention to the facts. They're not going to, like, go to his website and put it like and put a spreadsheet together with Clinton on one side, Donald Trump on the other, and you know, factor in their lifestyle and what they want to get out of a politician, add it all up, and they're not like, okay, yeah, no, Trump helps us 23% more than Clinton. Like, that doesn't happen. They just see some guy on TV, and back to the thing where Trump just says everything under the sun. So if you say everything under the sun, you're gonna hit people. You know, you're gonna have a phrase that resonates with every single group of the population, right? And so people hear those things, and people are much more gullible to positive reinforcement than to negative. What I mean by that is, it's a lot easier to manipulate somebody than it is to convince them that they've been manipulated. Do you know what I mean? So if you just say everything, you just manipulate them right off the bat, then they're manipulated, and it's harder for somebody to convince them that they've been manipulated because their ego is in play, right? And then it is for Trump just to say all these random things, and that's why he's gotten so far. So, oh man, I don't know, like this, like, to watch this and to know all this and to know that Trump is, like, it is fucking close. The last video I made was correct, was accurate at the time, but Trump has come back again, and now it's even, or I don't know, like this, it seems too perfect. Do you know what I mean? The ebbs and flows of it. It's like, oh my god, now it's even again. Now it's like, maybe it's that's true and it's all just fucked up, but I don't know. So that's pretty much my take on Trump. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing in business. He's not rich. He's like, his brand is ruined now. Like people, like nobody wants the Trump name on their tower anymore because it's associated with fucking sexual assault and this orange fucking lunatic, right? Nobody wants that shit around them. So he's rebranded it to, I can't remember what it is. I don't give a shit. But yeah, so that's Trump. Hillary. That was only Trump. Hillary. So I have, I'm a Canadian, and I've watched the election, like a TV show. I think I already went into this, but yeah, whatever. I don't really watch TV shows or movies. I just kind of watch the election and pay attention to real life things as opposed to fantasy lands. So that might explain why I'm a Canadian and I know so much about this, or am passionate about it, or whatever. Like, I just don't pay attention to fucking TV shows and movies anymore. So Hillary Clinton, yeah, she's a tough one to talk about because she has so much like history of good and bad. My judgment on Hillary Clinton is she's good in every sense except for economically. If she could hire somebody who had a more, or had a less extreme view on the economic situation, and she just is in favor of the wrong things. Honestly, she just is not in favor of economic policies that benefit the general public, like that benefit the majority of the people. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem with Hillary Clinton, and everybody knows that. Donald Trump wouldn't be any better in that regard. Definitely not. He just has no idea what he's doing, so he couldn't be any better. You know what I mean? Like, she knows what she's doing, and she's doing that on purpose. So she'll like kind of make it okay and make it look okay. But Donald Trump, whatever he'll do, it won't look okay, and it won't be okay. It'll be so much terrible shit. But honestly, at the same time, like Bill Clinton, if you look at the policies and you look at if you really follow the timeline of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton's economic strategy or economic policy making trends, or whatever you want to call it, I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but they did not do anything to help, or they did not take action to try and prevent any economic downturns. If you know what I mean, say it very non-dramatically. They didn't do anything to kind of curb the effects of it, and they kind of pretty much did things to start it. So what I mean by that is the Clintons are very closely tied to the large banks, to oil, to the energy kind of industry, and the financial industry, among others. I don't know, as well as media and all other kinds of things. But the problem is, like, what's happened, and I think most people don't really understand how politicians work with large corporations to fuck people. So there's a balance in society of people pay income tax, corporations pay income tax, and that should be a balanced equation where people pay what they should pay, and the money that they give gets put into things that benefit them. You know what I mean? Like, that's why people are doing it. Nobody's like, it's not a charity thing. Like, people are doing it so they have roads, so they have hospitals, so they have police, so they have street lights turned on. Do you know what I mean? That's why people pay taxes. That's where the taxes goes. You know what I mean? Because it's not like the government just has a lot of money and just wants to make their citizens happy, so they put up street lights. No, people pay for that, and the government puts it up. So the government is like the employee of the people. That's how it should work, right? And so in that regard, that's why voting is so necessary, and that's why the democratic system is so necessary, because since people are shelling out all this money, they want to choose the politician who has the correct stance, choose somebody who they trust to allocate that money correctly, so that those things happen, like the roads get built and the hospitals keep working, schools keep teaching, and all that. Do you know what I mean? So now, how Hillary has worked with large corporations is she works with them. So if I was a single corporation, right? Now, when I look at my balance book, I have all this revenue, all this income, and I have my expenses, right? And so there's expenses that can't be avoided. Like, I need to pay my employees, I need to pay rent, or I need to pay the mortgage on a building that I own where I run my business. Those things are unavoidable. And so as a large corporation, my sole purpose is to try to increase the revenue that I make, right? My sole purpose is not to try to learn about the economic situation and try to balance it out so it's fair for the people. No, that's like, as a corporation, my job, my sole purpose in life, I don't have a life, but my sole purpose is to make more money. And how can I do that? Like, what are my expenses that I can change? Okay, I pay so much in taxes, because the more I make, the more taxes I make. So, geez, if I don't know what the fucking tax rates for corporations is, or it's probably so complicated, I don't know it. I don't know anything about that. But, let's say I pay 20% income tax. Well, and that 20% income tax, let's say I pay $500 million in 1 year, and that's my income tax, and whatever. So now I get to thinking, damn, how can I reduce that? Maybe if I become friends with politicians, they are the ones who set those tax rates. So maybe if I get them to write in a bill saying, oh, we're going to lower the tax rates for this specific industry, and I'll buy her a home in the Bahamas for, I'll buy her a $10 million home in the Bahamas. She'll enjoy that, and I'll enjoy my tax cut from, let's say 20% to 10%. Now, instead of $500 million, I only pay $250 million, right? And I only had to buy a house for this politician for $10 million. So I'm up $240 million. Now, just by making a friend and buying a house, my company makes $240 million more that I can keep. Now, the problem with that is that corporations can do that, but the problem with that is that's $240 million or $250 million that is not going into the tax pool, right? So that's much less money than the average person kind of has, and it throws the balance off. So then what that does is it puts all the weight on the citizens to provide the tax money, right? And those businesses need to like those businesses use the facilities and use those things, and it was decided that 20% was fair because of the balance. Somebody looked at the whole thing and was like, 20% is fair here. So when you lower that, it throws the balance off, right? And maybe, like, honestly, like, I haven't looked at the balance. Like, there is a chance that, like, lowering that is a good thing for some reason. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but I just don't know it. So I can't say for sure that it's bad. But there's no... Like, the motivation behind it is only to lower the taxes. The motivation behind that company trying to lower their taxes is not because they've looked at the whole situation and are like, oh, this is what's best for everybody. No, they just do it for what's best for them, right? And so that's why regulation is needed. And that's why strong politicians are needed who cannot be bought off. Because then it throws off the whole balance of the tax situation, and just for some greedy fuckers who want to make some more money. So that's how Hillary Clinton is bad, because she does that shit all the time. Bill Clinton did it all the time, and that's why. And the crash of 2008. That's why the crash of 2008 happened, is because these stock companies lobbied the politicians to make it legal for them to sell these terrible products, these terrible bonds that had no chance of succeeding. Like they sold junk bonds and made them look like AA bonds. Do you know what I mean? That's just the base of it. Because the regulations were lifted to allow them to do that, right? So that's why it happened, just in a nutshell. And that's why that shit can't keep going on, because it will just create another recession, because it will create another bubble. And there's so much money in these bonds, and there's so much money being at play that it affects the economy. It affects everything. And it just, like, it affects the world. It affects everybody. Like, the world went into a crazy recession. Greece is in a terrible position among pretty much everyone else in the world, right? So Hillary Clinton, as far as, like, that's where Hillary Clinton is bad, and that's super bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's really bad for everybody. As well, there's some other things. Actually, another thing why I am not a fan of Hillary Clinton is she has pretty much perpetuated the war that's going on in the Middle East, and she thinks that it's a good idea to continue to press that war on and continue to do those things. And it's really hard to watch, honestly, because I don't know. I don't know how everybody else thinks about this, but I just zoomed in for some reason. But I don't know how anyone else thinks about this. But, like, my view on it, I just think, like, nothing as good has happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, if the U.S. if their intention was to go in and help, do you know what I mean? First it was Saddam Hussein who they went in there, and the Bush administration was the got WMDs over there and got to take them out. Saddam Hussein and the Ayatollahs of Iran, like, they just vilified these people, and they literally found no weapons of mass destruction. There was no evidence of any of that. They just created they just used fear tactics to motivate the public to go into Iraq because they wanted to invade. And I'm not going to get into why or whatever, but do you know what I mean? And then that just kept going, and then Afghanistan, and then Syria, and then Do you know what I mean? It's just like they're just systematically destroying the Middle East. And the weird part about it is they're not really going into any place that has a lot of money. And another thing that comes to mind is the US is weirdly like very close allies with. Damn, somebody's smoking weed. Smell some good weed. Maybe it's me. I don't know, maybe it is me. Anyway, smell fucking good weed. So, yeah, the US is allies with Saudi Arabia, which is not, like, Saudi Arabia is not any better than any of those other countries as far as how they treat their citizens. It's like Saudi Arabia throws gay people off of buildings to kill them because they're gay. You know what I mean? Saudi Arabia literally executes and hangs people, like 20 per year, like on a constant, like, and the reason for that is for Sharia law. What Sharia law is, if you don't know, is it's pretty much like the Quran law. You know what I mean? It's like religious law. And so to give you an idea of how that's different from things in the States is we have like laws. I don't know what the difference is, or I don't know how to describe it, but like we just have laws that are in place for logical reasons to protect people and to keep people safe, kind of, right? So they have religious laws. Now these things are not based on logic. To give you an idea, I can't remember the country, I think it was Iran or Iraq or something, but one of the ayatollahs, or I don't know what the word is, but they put out a fatwa, which is, I don't fully understand everything, but this is just what I've heard. They put out a fatwa saying, and what a fatwa is like a quick law. It's like, all right, I'm saying this, everybody needs to abide by it. We're not going through a normal process. This is just the law now, so you have to abide by it. So they put out a law saying that girls are not allowed to ride bicycles because it like has something to do with like defaming them, or I don't know, it makes them sexualized or something. I really don't understand. Or I don't remember the reason for him doing that. It was something stupid like that though. And yeah, so that give you an idea, like just out of nowhere. Maybe he saw a girl on a bicycle like the day before, got turned on by it, and was like, oh my god, we gotta stop this. And then just put that out or something. I don't know. Like that's kind of what it is. It's like, what the fuck? Out of nowhere now girls aren't allowed to ride bikes. And that's across the country. And it's a religious law. Like it's so weird. So, I don't know. That shit just doesn't make sense to me. Like, there's a lot of, like, it makes sense to me, but it's just terrible because it's so obviously just one guy trying to have power. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's no, like, it's not like for the greater good. It's not for other people. It's just this one idiot, this guy who, like, feels bad about himself or something, just wants to have all this power, and it's terrible, and he negatively affects the people around him as a result of it. And for a politician, like, that's the opposite of what a politician should be. Like, that's the opposite of what anything should be for somebody managing other people. They should have those people in mind, not themselves. What the fuck? It's just backwards. Everything is, not everything, but so many fucking political situations in different countries are so extremely backwards. Canada, we have our own issues. Honestly, I need to say, like, after learning about this, like, Canada is in a good spot, and I'm very, like, I'm so thankful. And I don't mean to just judge other countries. I just, like, I say this because, like, I don't say this in like a I'm better than them kind of way in any way. I don't think I'm better than the States. I'm just observing what's going on, and I'm just it's just very interesting to me to follow that, and I have respect for, and I feel empathy for these things happening. Like it's like it's terrible, you know what I mean? Like some of these things that happen is terrible, but I think it's healthy to pay attention to these things and to have an idea of what's going on in the world. Yeah, I don't need to go and like you know, take a microscope inside the head wound of a guy who just got fucking his head blown off or something. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't need to subject myself to like fucking weird violence or anything, but like just to understand the ideas of what's going on is, I think, a very healthy thing. Like it's like people are kind of opposed to reality. It's kind of funny. It's like, oh my god, no, that's, I feel uncomfortable. No, I don't want to hear about that. No, you know, it's like, god damn it, like it's not like it's real. It's, you just want to feel good or something. Like I don't get it. I don't know. Like I really hope, like I'm scared of getting to the point in my life where I just go to work and I'm just numb to everything. Like, and I don't do anything. I'm not excited about anything. I don't, you know, I just become this boring fucking shill. I don't want that to happen. So I create this fucking most stressful life imaginable. Alright. Well, this is a pretty long video. I'm at the 32-minute mark, but I think there's some good information in here, and I hope it helps somebody. I don't know, like yeah. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I am way off. Let me know if you think yeah, just let me know. Like, what's your thoughts? Like, let's have. I wanna have a discussion. I know I can get. You know, I think I know everything, but I don't know everything, and that's why I want to discuss things, because I love hearing different people's perspectives that kind of change mine a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It's like I hear somebody's perspective and it's like, okay, I disagree with most of it, but that one part is super interesting and I completely agree with it. I've never thought about that before. You know what I mean? Like I love hearing that kind of thing. So yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully the length of this video is not too bad. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.